Have you ever sat with this thought? What if the biggest decision of your life doesn't affect you the most? What if it affects somebody who isn't even here yet? We spend so much time thinking about our future, our plans, our happiness, our money, our next move, and none of that is wrong. But somewhere along the way, we forgot something simple. Your life doesn't end with you. Somebody you never met may have to live inside the consequences of the choices you're making right now. Hey family, if you clicked on this video, I don't think it was by accident, so let's talk. I was reading Genesis the other day and something got me. We all know the story, Adam and Eve, the fruit, the snake. We heard it since childhood and we heard it 1,000 times, but I don't think we ever slowed down long enough to feel the weight of it. Imagine waking up that morning in the garden. Eve didn't know one conversation would reshape the entire world, and Adam didn't know one act of disobedience would carry into the generations after him. And the snake didn't know that one act of deceivement would curse him forever. Nobody in that garden understood how far that day would go. And what got me was how small the choice looked until it wasn't. One day, one conversation, one decision, and the world was never the same. Here's the real question. If one decision in the garden could shape generations, why do we think ours won't? We love saying, it's my life. I'll do what I want. But can you? Can you really? Because if your attitude affects the people in your house, was it ever just your life? If your children learn how to handle conflict by watching you, was it ever just your life? What if people around you grow because of how you love them? Was that just your life too? One of the biggest lies we buy into is that our choices only belong to us. They don't. Choices travel. They show up years later. They show up in people you love. They show up in people you'll never meet too. And that's why this message isn't about Eve, it's about us. Because most of us have said, it's not that serious. We've all made decisions. We've all made decisions thinking, it's just this one time, or I'll do it later. I'll do it later. But that's exactly how the enemy works. He doesn't show you the ending. He shows you just enough to convince you to take that first step. Eve didn't see death when she bit into the apple. She just saw the apple. The enemy never shows you the full road. He just gets you moving. And once you do, the consequences, they keep on coming. But before anybody starts feeling heavy or condemned, hear me. The Bible isn't just full of people whose mistakes shape generations. It's full of people whose obedience shaped them too. Somewhere in your family, somebody decided to pray. Somebody decided to stay faithful. Somebody decided to forgive. Somebody decided not to quit. And maybe that person is you. Maybe God is looking at your family and saying, I'm starting something new through you. Not because you're perfect, not because you have it all together, but because you're willing. What if your children don't inherit your anger because you dealt with it? What if they don't grow up confused about God because they watched you trust Him when life got hard? Have you ever considered the greatest thing you leave your family may not be money, not even a house, not even land, but the example you've lived? Because let me tell you something. Houses can be destroyed. Money can be spent, but a life that points people towards God, that right there, that keeps going. So before you make your next decision, before you say, it's not that serious, ask yourself, if everybody in your family lived the way I'm living right now, what kind of family would we be? Sit with that and answer yourself, because somebody is going to inherit something from your life. The only question is, what are you leaving them? All right, family, if this stirred up something in your spirit, hit that like button. It only takes 2 seconds and it's free. All right, family, keep your head up, your hands up, and let it resonate.